Now, I hope you guys enjoy this report. I'm throwing a little bit of a spin for you because I'm cooking and we're talking about fishing. We'll get after it right after this. So February is quite possibly one of the most exciting periods, especially as you're going into March. We're breaking out of it. These are sort of the last real big cold fronts that we have, and this is when things really start to begin to change. What you guys need to understand is the transition is getting ready to take place, and that's super important. If I were you guys, you want to be sort of intercepting the peak of those transitions, which is when those reds start coming off of, let's say, the channels and into those grass flats. When those reds start hunkering down a little bit more prevalent in brackish water, your creeks, all that good stuff. If you're fishing that kind of stuff, you guys should already be on them. You probably are on them quite a bit in some areas, depending on how much rain. Patterns are always kind of here and there every year, right? So I feel like this year we're a little early in that brackish and creek setting. But on the flip side, if you're fishing some clear water, grass flats, you may notice that it's there, like the fish are obviously there, but quality's not quite there yet. But it should begin to intensify here in the next month and a half, month, and you should start seeing better and better days when we start getting these warm-ups. So I'm pretty excited about that. A lot of people actually don't like to grill trout because it flakes, and it is a flaky fish, but as long as you oil base it, cook it really at a good decent temp and let it do its thing, don't let it stick, flip it only once, you should be good to go, man. It doesn't take much. Let that set here for a second. All right, guys, so a popular question that is asked quite a bit. What am I throwing in the winter versus what I'm throwing later on when things sort of begin to warm up? And you know, the longer I do this, I realize that, we can get super technical on things, but bottom line is you fish what you're comfortable with. I pretty much throw the same thing in a marsh setting all throughout the year. Whether it's winter, whether it's summer, whether it's spring, it almost doesn't even matter. As long as they're seeing it, they're gonna hit it. But that being said, whatever you're more confident with, just because I'm throwing maybe a gold paddle tail and you're throwing a pink paddle tail, if I'm with my gold paddle tail and I'm doing what I need to do and you're doing what you need to do with your other color, don't change anything. Don't use what I'm using just because it's working for me. Up and down the Texas coast it's completely different. For you Galveston boys, I know you guys throw a lot of black, a lot of crazy dark colors, and you goop up the scent. Rightfully so. Y'all's water is like beyond chocolate. It's like chocolate and mud. It's crazy. It's like almost reddish in some areas. Down here in the coast, it's a little bit different. We have to basically use something that's going to catch the fish's eye. They definitely can see you, even in our marsh areas, even in some of the creeks, even in obviously the grass flats. I mean, the water down here is just a lot more relatively clear. More important than what you're throwing is not so much color. Like let's put that aside. Right now, what you should be worried about, if you're in dark water setting, creeks and brackish, you definitely want to present your presentation as light as you can, less surface disturbance. Fish this time of year are super skittish, and their feeding patterns kind of like aren't really full blown yet. So they can be a little nervous when the water's clear and when the water's dirty. Once you lace it with oil, it doesn't really stick, and that's the key to grilling speckled trout. All right, guys, we're gonna take a little taste of it. These are really starting to sort of plump up. This is turning out really good. I'm gonna take a little piece back here. I'm gonna actually let my son, woo! Yeah, that's hot. So for those of you guys who don't know on how fish hunt, you know, they hunt basically 3 different ways. Visually, lateral lines, scent. 3 things. That's all you need to understand. Variables change. You gotta be opportunistic based on what the fish are doing. So if you're in a chalked up area and you're scaring fish left and right and you can't even get past mullet to save the life of you, well, if you do get an opportunity, if you do get a good enough cast or reach with your cast, you're gonna want that soft landing. Anything that's big, bulky, a jig head that really shouldn't belong in that setting, toss it. This is why fly guys are so successful all throughout the year, really, and down here at least, just because of stealth. You know, you don't really have a crushing blow on anything. That fly just sort of lays on the water, and it's all about just getting it in front of the fish's visual perspective. So, a huge advantage towards that. Now, obviously, conventional reel and rod, a little different. You know, you can't obviously throw a fly, but there are certain profiles on lures, super light jig heads that don't make such a big ruckus when it makes impact with the water. And as of right now, that's what I'm focused on in a lot of these areas if I'm targeting redfish. Trout, no, not really focused on that. I'm more structure fishing, digital sight casting, and it's just a completely different animal. Oh, the fish. All right, look at that. Love it. It's holding. Trout tends to be flaky. Nice crispy end. I want you to chew on that and you tell me, what are you thinking? Is it hot? Good taste? What fish, if you were to guess, what fish?
Trout.
This guy's way too good. Way too good. All right, boys. Look at this. Crispy, did not break on the grill. And this is what I like to see right here. I don't know if y'all can see. Let me zoom in real quick. I don't know if y'all can see, but I love it when it's on the grill and it's not dry. And you still see those juices sort of pushing through, man. That, my friends, is a good old Texas Pit Boss speckled trout. All right, guys, so we'll end it with this. And I will call this, if I were you. February is a transformation year. And I think that's very important to say. It's probably the best advice I could give to you guys walking into February. For me, if certain areas are just too high pressured and you want to get away, February is the month to make that move and to pick up on the patterns before they become consistent, right? So, starting to see a little bait, you know, out yonder in this little area. What is it doing 2 weeks from now? Is it still where it's at? Is it deeper? Is it further back? Did it disappear? Am I seeing new bait now? Are there new hatchings? Is there a sequence to this? And I'm using bait as an example because bait is key to all. It's the cycle of life. And I'm not going to say any more beyond that. I'm going to just let you guys chew on that for February and see you next week.